You know, I think this is the first time that that goofy intro I made for this series is fitting. See, the whole idea behind that intro is that when I dig up these obscure games, I come across some stuff that's horrific, not in a spooky way, but in a oh, why am I playing this kind of way. And that's a perfect you know, explanation of Campus. Finding information for this game is kind of difficult, so I don't really have much backstory for you because, well, I can't find a whole lot of information. But whatever, that's fine. That's not the point of this. The point of this is to show you this weird game. Now, this game has some really horrible audio mixing issues. There's a decent soundtrack and there's some weird noises, but I'm just going to play this OST I got playing behind the background. This is not music from the game. Another disclaimer is that I'm playing this on my actual Windows XP desktop. I couldn't get it running on my Windows 10 one. The game did come out in 2007, so there's probably ways to get it running on newer hardware because there's older games that I could get running on Windows 10. But if I got the hardware, I wasn't going to bother. Now we can get into this game and talk about it. And yeah. When the game starts, you have an option of starting a single-player game or connecting to online. Online requires some registration. Now, according to the manual, online is just basically stat leaderboards, but you could invite someone to your game to chat with them. I think only 2 people could be in just this random instance on campus, and you could talk to one another. I'm not really entirely sure how it worked, or even if the service is even active anymore. My XP machine isn't connected to the internet, so I didn't try to register, but I can't imagine that this service really works. So unless it has some kind of LAN feature, I don't think you're going to be able to experience what this multiplayer had. So when you're starting single player, you have a choice of a few characters. You got the jock, you got a middle-of-the-road kind of guy, a nerd, 2 girls with their own kind of personalities. It's stereotypical type stuff that you would see in a game from the mid-2000s that is trying to emulate campus life. I just go with the middle-of-the-road guy, and I'm not really sure how stats play into this, but I kind of go with the guy who seems like he's in between of everything. And then when you get in the game, you notice kind of the graphics and the view. It really does look like a Sims game. But more specifically, this game doesn't play like a Sims game normally would. It's more like those ones that were released on handhelds. You know, the ones where they got like the story modes, like, you know, the Sims on DS or Herbs on DS, and then on Game Boy Advance and all this. But this game really does remind me of those, as it has sim elements where you have hunger, thirst, food, all this stuff, but you also have to kind of work towards an overarching plot. Now, the reason I'm telling you all about this is because this is exactly how campus is, but almost worse and more mentally exhausting. So the perfect example is when the game starts. Okay, when the game starts, one, your player profile looks disgusting. But when the game starts, it talks about how you just arrived at university on the train station, and you need to find your bag. It's gone. Now, the reason you need to find your bag is because it has your student documents, which you need to register to campus. This is where the weird stuff starts to kick in, as the game tells you what certain terminology means. I have no idea who the target audience of this game is. It tells you what matriculation is, which is the process of, you know, getting enrolled in university. It even tells you, like, what an SMS is, you know, an instant text message. It's strange. It's really weird how this game has like a educational element to it. There's even a point when you ask a taxi driver for a ride, he says he'll give you the ride for free if you can answer a question. And it's, what's the second biggest city in Russia? Anyway, I'm already losing my mind. I need to get back on track so you can see how weird this game is beyond the educational parts. So, you arrive, you don't have your bag. Your first instinct is to talk to people. And when you talk to people, they say they don't know where your bag is. I mean, you look like a crazy person running around this train station asking for a bag. But when you go into the station, you can see that there is a police office. And then you ask the guy about your bag, and he says it's probably some dude named Pedro. And, you know, go find him. And he says he's too busy. You know, don't bother me. So then you go to the taxi guy, and the taxi guy says that he is not giving you a ride to campus because he's got some stuff going on. He's stressed out because his Russian hippie friends one of them's in jail. And then when you go talk to the guy, offering to give him some help, he asks you to go get his guitar. You go outside to another hippie guy who has a Russian name, and you convince him to give you the guitar. You give the hippie in the jail cell the guitar. He starts playing, and for some reason the cop leaves, and you have to go behind the counter, search the cabinets to get the key, let that guy out, and then when you leave and you talk to the cab driver again, then he gives you a ride. It is the most cryptic, weirdest stuff ever. I really don't understand. It makes no sense. Why did the cop leave when you gave him music to play? Why are you free? Why is a Russian hippies? I don't understand. Anyway, you get to campus, okay? And this is where you begin to know that in all this time you took to figure this out, time has been moving. You're thirsty, you're hungry, you gotta tinkle. You know, there's all this stuff going on. And this is when it hit me. Where do I sleep? Where do I replenish all these nutrients that I need? Well, how am I going to survive? So at this point, I got to a stage where I would save every time I knew what I was doing, and then I would reload it because I didn't know if time mattered. I didn't know if everything was on a doomsday time clock. Like, this is school, right? So as the days moving with the semesters, I wasn't sure about this. So I saved often and reloaded often, especially since in the early game, I didn't know where to get food and drink, and only had so much money. So I go find Pedro. Pedro says he doesn't have the bag, and all he noticed was an unpaired shoe guy leave the station. So now you got to go find that person. Now, this is where I began to navigate the menus a little bit more, and notice that under the objectives, it tells you who to go talk to and who to find. There's just one problem. You don't know where they are. So it tells you got to find a professor who has unmatched shoes. One, how in the world do you know he's a professor? I don't know. And two, you got to go find them. I walked all around this campus trying to find a person that had unmatched shoes before I went to the teacher settlement, the professor settlement. Why is it called settlement? But yeah, the teachers live on this campus in some houses. But I found the guy, and he tells me he found the bag, and he put it in bag storage and made the code all 7s. Now, that bag storage is back at the train station, which means you have to run all the way across campus, get back to the taxi driver, get back to the train station to put in that code. And at this point, it's nighttime. You still don't know where you need to sleep, and you might have figured out where to get food and drink at this point, but I didn't, so I just reloaded the game. I started over, and I wondered, can I just go get the bag with the code in mind? And sure enough, it doesn't activate after you talk to that professor. If you have the code, you could get your bag. Boom. Got the bag. We got some stuff. We got our cell phone. We can text people if we want. And we can go matriculate. But I still had to free the hippie. But now that I know how to do that, it didn't take very long. So now I'm on campus. And I got to find student affairs. So it's in the university building in the study office. You talk to this chick, and she admits you. And then you get to pick the classes you want to take. Now, this is where the weird part comes in. And more weird parts. Instead of just picking what you want to major in, you have a list of diplomas that the game tells you that you have to achieve and how to achieve them. And you just sign up for random classes as long as it fits in your schedule. You're going for all the degrees and diplomas, baby. You ain't just being a Bachelor of Arts. You want them all. So I signed up for some classes, and then I went to go find out where I was supposed to sleep. The lady told me to find someone with a free room, and the objective thing said talk to the commandant, which I don't know who the commandant is. So I just wandered around until eventually I found a room that has a bed that no one was sleeping in, and I slept in it. Now here's the issue. One of the many issues. I feel like a broken record every time I say here's the issue. But issue is you cannot speed up time that fast. So when you lay down to go to sleep, I guess crack open a book. You can accelerate time once, and it's somewhat fast. But then I noticed that I'm thirsty and hungry and I need to pee. But thankfully, there is free places to do this. They're just on all 3 different corners of the campus map. So you got the food place, which is to like the west. Then you got the water fountain in the campus building, which is like in the north, and then you got the water closet that's in the south. So you're constantly running between these, trying to replenish yourself. When you eat, you get thirsty. When you get thirsty and you drink, you have to pee. Then you go pee, and by this point, you're out of endurance, your sleep meter's up, and it's a constant juggle of trying to keep these attributes up. I must sound like a crazy person, but I have no better way of reviewing this than just kind of giving you an idea of what I went through. This game is weird. So it's class time, and I thought maybe this would be like Bully or something, and it'll be some mini games, or at least it'd be something interesting to see. No, you just sit there, and he writes down on a pen and paper. Nothing happens in these classes. It's just a teacher in the front doing some stuff, and you're a guy just sitting there making down notes. And it goes up in the study level, and then I'm assuming when you max out this bar, you finish the class. I did get a job, and it was checking the illumination, whatever that meant. And when the time come to do the job, that little wheel at the top means you could put your guy on autopilot, and he'll carry out the plan himself. And when you're late to a class or something, like even a minute, you can teleport to it. It's called Run. Anyway, he gets through the job. My character gets to the job, and then he runs up to the first light post. I guess he was checking light bulbs, and he says, I don't have anything to do this job with. I don't have any tools. It was about this point that I quit. I spent so much time in trying to figure out this game, and it's a fairly obscure one. I Googled this game as much as I could, and I found people asking questions on the web about certain stuff, and I found like one playthrough where a guy couldn't even get past the train station part. And it's so cryptic and insane that it's something that I challenged someone to try to beat. I really did not feel like trying to beat this and getting any further, because I began to see what the loop is. You go to class, you get your diploma, rinse and repeat. But there's more to this game. Apparently you can go to other countries. I'm not sure like if it's just like the classroom thing where you leave and then you come back, kind of like in The Sims when you go to your job. But you can go to other countries. There's a lottery system. There's an online news thing. You just need to have a laptop or a computer to get to it. There's a lot of characters to meet, and there was a lot of side quests, like the chick who admitted me was like sad and you had to go find a gift for her. One guy couldn't find his textbook or whatever. One person was upset that the chessboard in the middle of campus is not there. Apparently there's mini games like Sudoku and stuff like that. There's a lot of stuff to do, and I'm sure you get your own dorm room at some point, and I bet there's some romance. But my God, the hours it took for me just to get to my first class. And I still don't even know who the commandant is to get my free room. This game is insane. And it's haunted me ever since the day I bought it like 3 years ago. But now I got my video out on it. I'm done with it. I can wipe my hands of it. Of its weirdness. In the description below, you will find links to everything I talked about today, including the OST that I'm playing right now, and the link to the YouTuber Minimme and his videos on the Sims handheld games, the footage that I had used briefly. If there's any game you'd like to see me cover, let me know in the comments section below. I'm always looking for suggestions. And remember, we do have a Discord. Come by, chat about some games or whatever you feel like. I'm Elijah Moon Blackwell with CD-ROM Fossil, and I will see you in the next episode of whatever that may be.